This is KGW News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Drew Carney. First up here at noon, we want to let you know about a landslide near the Oregon coast that has shut down part of Highway 101. So this is a picture of the area. The closure is south of Wheeler at milepost 47, and ODOT expects this closure to last for a while, saying this stretch of 101 probably won't open back up at all today. Now let's get to the situation between Russia and Ukraine with three things to know this afternoon about the war. Starting with number one, President Biden traveling to Europe next week. The White House press secretary says the president will talk to European leaders about Russia's invasion. We know last week, Vice President Kamala Harris spoke with leaders in Poland and Romania about Ukraine's growing refugee crisis. Number two, Ukraine's president addressed Canada's parliament today. President Zelensky talked about the devastation of the war and again asked for a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Tomorrow, Zelensky will speak to members of the U.S. Congress. And number three this afternoon, firefighters battled flames at this 15-story apartment building in Kyiv. Ukraine's military issued a statement saying the building was hit by Russian artillery strikes. And a firefighter at the scene confirmed that one person was killed while other people were trapped inside. And that's a look again at today's latest from the war in Ukraine. As Russia's attacks on Ukraine continue, a family in Salem continues to worry about what might happen to their loved ones who live there in Ukraine. Catherine Cook brings us their story.
Smiling faces in Kyiv, Ukraine. For Olena Sheremeteva, last summer's family vacation feels like a world away. Her mother and father are still in Kyiv, but now their smiles are gone. This photo is from last weekend.
They are going through survival at the moment because they don't know what future holds for them.
Olena, her husband Joey, and son Nicholas live in Salem. She says her parents, Natalia and Mikola, spend their nights awake in a bomb shelter and their days checking on friends while trying to eat and rest. They also connect with Olena when they can.
Every time they can, they text me, and this is the hardest part for me because every time I talk to them, I mentally prepare it's the last time I talk to them.
You know, I liken it to watching a 9/11 on her part every single day and having to live that and knowing that it's coming again tomorrow.
Olena's husband, Joey Rudisil, is Chief Information Officer at Central Willamette Credit Union. It's one of 15 credit unions in Oregon that just raised $67,000 for Ukrainian relief. Half will go to Portland-based Mercy Corps. The rest will go to the Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions, which is also helping in Ukraine.
I'm proud of the credit unions for doing what they're doing to make this happen.
The effort stemmed from a recent meeting among several credit union executives, including Clackamas Federal Credit Union CEO Aaron Goff.
It was very moving.
They heard the Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. speak about Ukraine's need for humanitarian aid and decided to help.
We often come together to have impact, to do things that help the community and our members. Usually it's the local community, but in this case, halfway around the world.
And as the world waits for word of hope in Ukraine, so does Olena's family.
That my grandparents still are up alive, and I hope Ukraine wins again.
Olena's family hopes their story and the generosity of others will inspire more people to donate money to Ukrainian relief funds. We've posted information on several nonprofits that are helping on KGW.com. Catherine Cook, KGW News.
And we're still feeling the impacts of the war in Ukraine at local gas pumps. This is according to AAA, these numbers we're showing you right here. The average price for gas in Oregon and Washington right now, both at about $4.74 a gallon, which is less than or higher, I should say, much higher than the national average of $4.32 a gallon. The country's highest prices right now remain in California, where drivers there are paying about $1 more than we're paying here. Here's another local story we're following today. Journalist and documentary filmmaker Floyd McKay has died at the age of 86. McKay had a long career here in the Northwest. He was a news analyst at KGW and also taught journalism for years at Western Washington University. He published a book back in 2016 called Reporting the Oregon Story that detailed some of the stories that he covered throughout his career. Wearing masks indoors in Oregon and Washington is now optional in most places, and that includes local schools. So we checked in yesterday at Portland's Arleta School and also at Beaverton Middle School. Some students in both schools chose to keep their masks on, while plenty others left them at home. We even saw some students who changed their minds in the middle of the day, starting with or without their mask, and then again going with the opposite idea before the school day was through. We also talked to a school psychologist at Salem Kaiser Public Schools about all this. She says there are benefits to losing the mask. She says some of those benefits include the face-to-face interaction students can now have with their teachers. But she also said, mask or no masks, it's really about creating a culture right now of kindness for everyone.
It's important to focus on positive things and things that we can control. So like good hygiene, exercise, healthy foods, getting plenty of sleep. For some people, that means wearing a mask, and that's okay.
We know most of Oregon's largest school districts have officially made masks optional, but that's not the case at every school. For example, Park Rose won't change its mask policy, they say, until after spring break. Well, with the indoor mask mandate gone in Oregon and Washington, we also wanted to know if more people will be returning to the office, specifically to offices in downtown Portland. KGW's Pat Doris took a closer look last night on the story.
The downtown streets are still pretty quiet for now. We found out the city is not bringing its workers back for at least a month, and a number of other companies aren't either. The city of Portland has 2,950 employees who work at several offices around downtown. Many are here at the Portland building. Well, normally. The sign on the door reads closed to the public. It's been that way for some time. The city tells us some workers are inside, but most are working remotely from home or other locations. Portland managers are not requiring them to come back to the city's core on a consistent basis until April 18th, and then they'll only be required to be at the office 1 day a week. It's unclear what happens after that. Each bureau can decide. I asked for an interview to talk with the chief administrative officer. The bureau did not reply. Portland State University has double the employees, about 6,000 at its downtown campus. A spokeswoman said workers returned for 2 or 3 days a week starting last September and continuing through now. At the same time, many other companies have not returned to downtown at all. The Standard building appears deserted. It once had 2,000 workers here. At its height, downtown Portland had roughly 100,000 office workers here each day. Christine Azar owns a coffee shop in downtown. She said there is more foot traffic than when COVID first hit, but it's not back to normal.
City leadership is not coming back to work. The city is open. City employees are not coming back to the office. Why is that? They should be the first back in the office because they're the ones that need to come down here and support us.
Many are calling on the city of Portland to do more to clean up the streets and make downtown safe again. Carrie Somm works to attract new businesses to Portland's Old Town district. She sees the impact each day.
Our downtown district, our Old Town district, the Northwest, it is really special. Nothing like this exists anywhere else. And it's slowly dying because folks are not coming back to work. They're not coming back to their offices. Our government officials, our city officials aren't coming back. And that has a massive impact on people who are trying to make ends meet.
On the other hand, working in Portland's core is no picnic right now. One new resident recently told city leaders her fellow employees are afraid to work downtown because of multiple problems with the homeless campers and violence. So I'd like to hear from you. What do you think? Do you feel safe going to downtown Portland? Do you work downtown now? Are you dreading going back to the office? Let me know your thoughts. You could give us a call at 503-226-5090 or send us an email, thestory@kgw.com.
Again, you can reach out to Pat and let him know the answers to those questions. You can also catch Pat Doris and The Story every weekday here on KGW, starting at 6 p.m. And you can also check them out on the KGW YouTube page. Well, to stay open during the pandemic, we know a lot of Portland businesses and restaurants expanded their operations onto city streets and sidewalks.
These places are really important for everyone to meet, have a good time, and we would have been, all 5 of my businesses would have been closed without this help from the city.
That's Eli Johnson, who owns Atlas Pizza, Dots Cafe, and the 5 and Dime Bar. He says prior to the Healthy Business Program, he was losing between $10,000 and $15,000 a month. That program that lets businesses spill out onto city streets and sidewalks was scheduled to end this June, but it will now continue through the summer. And Portland City Council is also looking at using federal money to keep it going for another 3 years. Rod Hill, I know you were out and about in downtown Portland earlier today, and we saw some clear skies, or at least some dry skies for part of the morning. What are you looking at now?
Well, it kind of depends on where you are. Again, downtown's been pretty quiet, mainly just partly cloudy. The radar, if you just look at a big picture, is still really active. Snow levels are getting down to about 4,000 feet up in the Cascades. Passes right now are fine. They're just wet and clear. But here's a closer look. Again, not much around Salem, some light showers passing through Portland. And then up here near the flat of Salmon Creek area, there are in fact some very heavy downpours. My wife, we live up that way. My wife just texted me. She says no hail, but just an absolute downpour. And you can see it there right now. Most of that is centered over Battleground. So there are some stormy looking skies around. Here's the Rose City looking out over the Moda Center to the north. You can see the stormy skies as you look up that way that we just saw on radar. 57. It's been warmer out than I thought we would be. And again, here's another vantage point. This from Pearson Airfield in Vancouver. And you're seeing some heavy showers looking off to the west there too, out along the Columbia River. So I think temperatures will be fairly steady. The air mass really won't support us being much warmer. And certainly the threat of downpours continues to be scattered about into this evening. We have a wind advisory for those of you in Wasco County and then headed out to the Columbia Basin. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Rod.
It's more than just a nice thing to offer them. These are going to be change makers. There's brilliant folks inside, and we cannot write them off.
We're going to take our first break here at noon, but when we come back, we're highlighting this program that gives inmates a chance to get a college education.